Postgame show. It's Brews Day. Terry Ford, Ryan Brewer's here. Our buddy Jay Phillips back at home. Brian, he had a one day streak of being in the studio.
Well, it's better than none. So we're baby steps, Jay. So you got to do what you got to do.
I would have been back today. Sadly, I've somewhere along the way in the last couple of days, I guess, acquired a cold in addition to all the other crap I'm dealing with. So I didn't want to get anybody else sick. So I called Terry first thing this morning, and I was like, "Yeah, not good." And then I called him about an hour ago and said, "Yeah, probably worse."
Well, we appreciate that, but I'm sitting in here with all my friends, and I don't think I've ever done this. All the years of radio, I've never been in a studio by myself. So.
Yeah, because I'm in the other studio. I have one question, though, Jay. Does that clothespin hurt on your nose?
Not as far as you know. It's not so bad. It's kind of like, I guess, like when you get a piercing.
Is that what
After a while, you just learn to live with it.
My nose hurts listening to you talk.
Yeah, it's not really a clothespin. It's cotton.
Is that what
it's cotton stuffed up in there. And I'm not even at home. Again, I'm in Clearwater.
Yeah.
I'm down there with our Kentucky lottery winner. Remember him?
Oh yeah. I remember the Kentucky lottery winner. Classic story.
Yeah, I'm down here. We're hanging out. We're hanging out in the inflatable slide out on the beach.
I'm glad you finished that sentence when you said inflatable. I was getting a little nervous.
Yes.
I was getting a little nervous. Now Brewer said he'll stay till 6 if you have to peace out.
I did not say that, but
well, whether he did or did not, we're gonna see. I am making no guarantees, man. I am none. But I am doing all I can. Considering I won't be on the air the next couple of days, I am doing all I can to give you what I got today. But we're going to find out in a few minutes here how we're doing.
Yeah, just hang in there, man. Do the best you can. We'll roll it. You're all good. Bye week there, Brew. Another one.
Yeah.
Little bit of stuff going on with a new offensive coordinator interim. You've never gone through this, and you played professionally. You played in college. You played in high school. Played Pop Warner. Played flag football, probably over 40 league.
Yeah.
Have you ever dealt with a kind of situation where you're breaking in a new offensive coordinator during the season?
Well, first off, happy Veterans Day.
Mm-hmm.
Second off, I think my Pop Warner League, we got rid of our OC after a couple games there because we only had 12 touchdowns in the first game, so we got rid of him. No, I've never had, we've had coaches changes. We've had things, guys get new jobs and move around, or not necessarily anybody have been let go. Not necessarily we've had an OC change. I've had, Skip was our in charge of all that, all 4 years I was there. It's a little different, I think, for these guys. I will say the presser today with Coach Beamer, I was a little bit more optimistic with what's going on, and I think that's some true statements he said in there that the players, will kind of reflect their coaches, how their body language, their attitudes, and all that stuff. And with Furry and Elliott, and you're hoping that to get a little more energy. Nothing. But our previous OC didn't have quite the energy those guys have.
Yeah, it's a nice way to put it.
Yeah, especially with the pressers and stuff like that. But I really love the last comment he made about Furry, talking about the third down, and asking if you had one or two, and it doesn't matter, I'm going to get it in one, and then go ahead and doing that. So that right there, if you're a player and you hear that, and you're like, that's the kind of crap you want to hear. That's what you want to do, the energy, the fire. You want that to happen and have the confidence in you as a player. The coach, when they have confidence in you, you're going to have more confidence. So that's the stuff right there. I'm like, okay, that's where I start. My chest just went up as a fan. Like, okay, I like this. I like what they're saying here. And then just the playbook wise, it's, we're going to add some or subtract some. The playbook, maybe the plays are the same, but I think it's and I said last week, it could be a little fun. Let's have some fun with this.
Yeah.
You really have you play the spoiler coming in, a team that's undefeated. You have nothing. I'm going to say nothing to lose. You always have something to lose. It's people's jobs online. There's things going on, but for this, it's hey, let's have some fun. Let's get these young guys in here. What plays do you like? Let's design some things up. What is it? Kansas City? The players come up with a player each week, things like that. You just have a little fun with it. But the energy and fire for this week and the bye week coming in, having someone new there, I'm starting to feel a little bit more optimistic coming into Saturday.
Well, and Ryan, you hit on where I wanted to take you next, because we talked about this last week. Could this move energize the guys? You don't celebrate someone that you're close to losing his job, but at the same time, the show must go on. But you hit on it there with what the players are comfortable with and having fun. And I'm with you. I don't think there is much to lose. I really don't. And, it's an 11 o'clock local time kick. Like we said last week, Carolina fans, you want A&M having gone to Missouri and won comfortably. They did. I don't know if that matters at all, but it's certainly better than them having to wait to have some kind of photo finish and then have Mike Elko hollering at them all week about how they almost got beat. But what does that feel like for a player in terms of, okay, I've got an opportunity to express myself. We've got an opportunity to go have fun relative to going and doing the job. How different do you think that's going to feel for these guys this week?
Again, it's player to player, Jay, because you look at it, say, if I'm in practice and we've been doing all these plays and nothing's being, it's there. So if I go out there and I have all these plays, say I'm Harbor, and all week long we're going to run this, we're going to run that, and I'm going to catch 12 balls or whatever, and then the game I get one or two thrown to me, it's kind of depressing. So, but now if you're in there and you feel comfortable, confident what the coach is throwing at you, and you know that, hey, I'm going to get a screen here, I'm going to get a quick slant here, there's definitely, it's not all going to be it's perfect, but I feel like, man, they're really going to start emphasizing this play, and maybe spreading the ball out where I'm going to get it. Now you got to realize this is a receiver who's a receiver coach, played in the league, and he's going to, I would think, want to be heavy on it. I want these receivers to get the ball. At least that's my mindset. If I'm a receiver, hey, a slot guy, hey, give me the ball. This guy played the same position as me. I'm going to get the ball this one because he likes that. He sees this look all the time. I'd be a little more excited about that. And it's again, what's going on in practice, the fire they're bringing, and just, confident with, hey, as a player, if I know I'm going to get the ball, now I got to do something with it. So, but it comes to what the feel is out there on the practice field right now. It could have been something of doom and gloom. We're getting rid of this. We're losing these games. And just from what Coach was saying, I feel like maybe there might be something there, especially, he's talking about recruits coming in, and he's talking about, the players and their attitudes. If it is still positive, that's a big deal. Now we still got to go on the road and play a heck of a ball team. That's, like you said, I was kind of on the verge there against Missouri. I don't really want to blow out like that because it looked like they could do whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted. And it may, that's if I'm watching film and I'm going, well, crap, what are we going to do? Type deal as well. So I'd rather have maybe a multiple, overtime game where they're all tired as hell coming in and playing, and we're playing them. But it is what it is. You're playing against, I think, the top team right now in the nation. You're playing against a really good coach, quarterback that's on the Heisman list right now, and it's a defense that's throwing every look at you, the book, that's getting in the backfield and playing well. So it's definitely a taunting task, but at the same time, like you said, there's nothing to lose. Let's go out there and ball out.
Yes, there's no pressure here. Just go play, have fun, tear it up, and whatever happens at the end happens at the end. It's Brews Day. Ryan Brewer in the house till 4. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford, post-game show on the game. Talking about this for a minute, I always thought, and Dow Loggins brought this up when he was here, and I've heard other OCs say it and head coaches, you're building your offense in today's football around the strength of your quarterback. That's just the game today. And what I always love is when I hear these offensive coordinators say, you know what I do? I brought the quarterback in. I sat down and said, look, we're going to build this thing around what you do best. What are your favorite plays? What do you think you run well? For one, you're giving them ownership to a point, but also, if I say to you, hey, Ryan, what plays you want to run that you think you do well? You're got a little bit more geek thinking, oh, they're incorporating me in the stuff that I do well, and I'm going to tell them. I just think that's always such a positive, and you get to feel like I'm hoping that's the direction this goes. It felt like that was not the direction we saw previously this year, just saying.
You hope so. That should be every OC. That should be every coach. It's not just, everybody sit down, especially, like Shane said, the first thing he did was talk to Norris about it. what was going on, and I think they should sit down with him and say, what do you like? And I think they started seeing snippets of it, and you know what we like. I like him rolling out of the pocket and making where he has one or two reads, and if there, he can run from there. And I think he does too. It simplifies the game. It simplifies the third of the field, and it's something that's going to happen. You're going to see it because we've seen snippets and especially the first drives of how good we can be, and then it just disappears. I think if I'm a assistant coach that may now be running the play calls, I'll be banging my head against the wall, going, "Why aren't we running these again?" Until they can stop it.
Right.
It's kind of like watching the Missouri game. Why didn't we run the running back over and over? Against A&M over and over. He was having a heck of a game. First play was a monster run, and all of a sudden we're going to get away from that. So whatever works, we got to keep going until they adjust, and then we have to adjust. And it's feel like we just can't adjust. We couldn't adjust this year. So hopefully these guys figure that out.
Well, Ryan, on that point, and I know this is somewhat rhetorical to ask you this question, but I'm gonna. Why do you believe they got away from what was successful? Was it a Mike Shula NFL attitude of they're going to figure that one out again too quickly? Let's try to keep them guessing. You've got experiences, as we all know, at the different levels. How different do you feel play calling is from a professional standpoint? Not to say that's exactly what Mike was doing when he was here, but I think that's one of the big questions. Why did they seem to drift so quickly away from what was successful?
I think that's the biggest question everyone's had all season. I've struggled with this one, Jay, but I think they start thinking maybe too much. Like you said, you have these first 10, I'm using air quotes for you can see these scripted plays, but it's also depends on what front they're running, what defense they're running, what covers they're running. There's, all that goes there. Then all of a sudden they get in this playbook and the analytics of, all right, if they're in this front, we can't run this play, but this one's a good play. But it's a good play against that front, but it's not necessarily a good play for your quarterback. And I think that became an issue, or your running back, or your O-line who's struggling at the time. Yeah, I really like this play and this protection. It should work, but, your left guard's missing blocks all day long, so, we can't – you got to find a way. That's not working. How do we design that play where we can roll the pocket out and make it, we're still running maybe the same routes or same concepts, but, we're moving the pocket on it, or we're doing something else, or we have RPOs off it. We have different reads. That's the thing I banged my head against the wall thinking about is why are we getting away from what works, unless they're showing us a different shell or a different look, and then let's adjust, maybe the same call, but it has a different different reads to it. And that's the biggest thing, too, is why we third down and eights or even shorts, we're running all goes or we're running all deep routes, and when an O-line, it can't block. There's just things that it never made sense. So I really don't have an answer to why unless they literally are looking at, the analytics when they show this front, we should run X, Y, and Z plays.
All right, we got Brews Day. We appreciate Ryan Brewer hanging out with us all, him and his buds in the other room there. You feel a little creeped out in here by yourself?
It is a little different. I'm like, I'm used to looking at you. Hey, I'm talking to straight looking at the mic. And so actually, I'm just looking at myself in the camera here and just talk to myself.
Brews Day, Ryan Brewer is here till 4. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford postgame show. We'll come back. Brewer, I want to ask you about some of the smoke and rumors we've heard about around Lenore Sellers, and would he come back or would he transfer somewhere, or the NFL? I want to get your thoughts on some of the stuff that's been said about all that. That's coming back next. And we hope, Jay, you're going to be here for another segment. Can you make it, my man?
As far as you know.
As far as we know. So Brewer will definitely be here. I got no choice. I'm pressing the bleeping buttons. And Jay might be back. It's a post-game show here on the game. I get to start bench drop here in just a second on the post-game show. Brews Day, Ryan Brewer, former Gamecock in the house, with Jay Phillips and Terry Ford again. Just if you're a veteran today, obviously we honor you on your day this time every year. Thank Rock and the folks over at Charwood for letting us hang out there today from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. as well. And obviously, McDonald's doing their promotion. You've heard about us marketing that on the air today as well. All right, start bench drop with a snotty Jay Phillips. What do you got, man?
Yeah, sorry. It is food related again, and since Ryan's here, this will be fun. I know last week I think we did how to prep a turkey. So today I'm going dessert, but I'm doing this while Brew is in the house. So start bench drop these classics: apple pie, pecan pie, pumpkin pie.
Oh,
that's it. It's that simple.
Nice.
It's that simple. Start bench drop. This is not going to be easy for me because I am a huge fan of all three. And my mom even had a recipe that she made that was a chocolate chip pecan pie, which
nice.
She sold. I don't know how many she sold, but I would say it was thousands.
So we can add that in there, right?
You could make that the pecan pie if you want.
That
But
just
my
changed my
mom's,
whole
sounds
opinion.
good, man, doesn't it?
It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
Hey, Jay, really quick, let me ask you a question because I know you picked up a lot of those skills from. Can you make that pie?
I can. I have daughters that are better at it than me.
You know where I'm going here.
But
Ryan.
I can. Here's the thing. Like when I make it for
No
whatever
excuses,
reason,
just make
I
the
don't-
pie, Jay.
I know. I don't know what I do wrong, but the chocolate chips seem to settle.
Why isn't the pie here, Jay?
Hey Ryan, I'm hearing excuses. I'm not hearing results.
I need results.
Yeah, no, the results are fine. It's just that the chocolate chip. I don't know. I don't make the stuff thick enough. I don't know, but
Well, I think we'll be the judge of that. Ryan and I will be the judge of that.
All right. Well, I'll see what I can do for you. We don't have any made yet, but it is phenomenal, man. And those of you who may be listening that ever were able to enjoy my mom's chocolate chip pecan pie know what I'm talking about.
All right.
It's something else.
So what's the timeline on this, Ryan? Because the man has got health stuff. So what are we gonna give him on timeline here?
I'll be here for another 40 minutes.
So there you go. You got 40 minutes, Jay.
Yes. Well. I'm afraid I'm going to disappoint you then. Let's just go ahead and call it what it is.
Hey,
I don't
Ryan.
have one in the freezer.
Oh man.
It does freeze well though. It does freeze well. So when you're making, you may as well go ahead and make like a quadruple batch and just freeze them.
So all right, we have pumpkin pie, pecan pie, and apple pie. Start bench drop.
Yeah, this one's easy for me if you want me to go ahead and answer.
Go ahead.
So, you might good with this? So
go ahead.
I'm going to start your mom's pecan pie.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Then I would have to go. Yeah, I'd bench apple pie, but I'd have to have some ice cream with my apple pie.
Oh,
Need
yeah.
some vanilla ice cream with
How
that.
about apple crumb?
And I'm not a big pumpkin fan. I'm sorry.
Not your bag?
Not,
All right.
not in my bag.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. I tell you what, apple pie, apple crumb pie is ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's next level. Can you make an apple crumb pie too, Jay?
Like with just like the strudel kind of stuff on top thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, I could make you sure. I could just make the strudel
Okay.
and just put it on there. Yeah, I could do that.
Do we need both in one day, 1 week, Ryan? Or do we give one a week?
One a week.
All right. You have to do one a week, dude.
I'm
All
trying
right, I'll see
to
what I
be
can do.
nice to him. He's going through some stuff.
That's right.
Right
He's going through stuff.
I'll see what I can do.
Being
I may have more time on my hands than I would prefer. So who knows, man?
You might
We'll
make
see.
us a ton of pies, Ryan. You never know.
Yeah, you know. Next thing you know, I'm slapping my face on a sticker and putting them in the Kroger. Who knows, man?
All right, it's Brews Day, hanging out with our buddy Ryan Brewer, former Gamecock. All right, in the break, going to the break, we talked about, there's been a lot of smoke and rumors and stuff going around about Lenore Sellers, Todd McShay, one of the draft guys for forever, brought up the Miami could be a place in the transfer portal that might already be tampering, maybe, with Lenore Sellers. Lenore still could go to the NFL. He could come back to college. What were your thoughts when you heard all that stuff?
I mean, I think he has options. When I hear all that stuff, I think Lenore loves it here, and I think the fan base loves Lenore. So, I mean, I think if he wanted to go, he could have already. If it had to do with money, he could have gone already. You always have to weigh the draft options right off the bat, and that's just for longevity of the career you play or the position you play. And if it's right now, you read it anywhere from 15 to 12 to where you could be picked, or it could be down a little bit lower. But if it's somewhere in that top 15, I think you got to start thinking about that very highly. The whole transfer thing, I don't even know what to say there. That went through the Miami. Sounds great. In theory, if you're not a South Carolina fan, but at the same time, you got to go right now. I think he's the guy who's going to go with his heart type deal. I really think he's a football player first, and he does like it here. And as long as the fans and we keep showing the love we should be showing this tremendous athlete, I think we'll be okay.
Well, Ryan, on that note, though, and one of the things that Terry and I talked about is how surprising it felt to even begin a conversation about a transfer or staying in school, because so many that follow the sport, whether they're college experts or draft experts and NFL experts, have all said the same thing. This guy's a first-round pick, and not just a first-round pick. He's probably a top half of the first-round pick. So this year, the stats don't quite match the projections, and everybody understands that. But, again, having been through the process yourself, I heard Dane Brugler, another great draft expert last week, say, look, they're not going to look at how the team played. They're going to look at how he plays. What does he do? What and what can they project on him? I'm just curious, from your own mind, do you feel any differently about Lenoris as a first-round pick next April relative to how you felt in July or August?
No, but so for the greatest team sport ever, you are being scrutinized as an individual on every step you make, especially NFL, what they're looking at. I think there was some games, especially, the last game he played in, he did miss some throws. He did some things there that are uncharacteristic of him. And I think the stats aren't nowhere near what he thought he was getting into this year, what we thought he was getting into this year. But we can hopefully scratch that up to an OC and see very quickly. I would hope by Saturday that, maybe it was something that simple, that he needed just a little more fire, needed a little bit better play calling and protection. But they see the really the tangible stuff that he has, what he can do as a runner, as a thrower, I think the pocket presence and reading is something they're gonna really look hard at. But I think a lot of guys will take a shot at it because of how great of an athlete he is. So I don't look at it NFL wise. He's gonna put up numbers, even combine numbers, running numbers, and strength numbers that just gonna outshine everyone. But then you put on the tape and you see that this guy still can make the throws. He can make the NFL throws. He can make the deep outs. He can do that. It's just it comes to now when they start interviewing him, where does he stand on that? And I think he's a very intelligent kid as well. So I don't see any issues there. Now, I think the biggest one is why did he digress? So that's, I think, the biggest thing in the next 3 games we have is to show that, hey, maybe it was as simple as we just need some better play calling. And that's what we all hope as Gamecock fans.
Well, and to your point, and Jay and I talked about this last week, there's still 3 games left in the season. It's not like it's over and the chapter's shut. No, he still has 3 games, and like you said, maybe new offensive coordinator, new play calling, just new feel and vibe. We might see the guy we saw last year for 6 games again.
And we hope so, because I think right now you have Elko's, stating all over the place. This is still a quarterback that ran and threw all over us last year, so they're worried about him. And I think this is I want to see, like I said, early in the season, I really thought that we're going to see the Superman come out of that phone booth, and we had snippets of it. We had times where it did happen, and it's just time to put it all together. But still, no matter what it is, it's a team game. Mm-hmm. You can't be that man if your guys are missing blocks left and right. If we're not running the right routes, we're not catching the ball, whatever. But he had multiple, and that's the thing. We go back to the last game, right? You're only good as the last game he played, and right now, I guarantee he has a bad taste in his mouth. And it's time to rectify that, make it straight that, hey, I am the best one out here. I am the best quarterback in the SEC and in the league, and I should be one of the top draft picks, and I'm going to prove it right here. And it's against a heck of a team to do it. And you have all eyes on you at a noon game, and it's time to prove that you're that guy. Now that's same time as if I'm Coach Beamer, and right now I have to recruit my guys that are already there. That sounds just miserable to me. That's these guys are trying to get, they're trying to recruit high school kids. They're trying to figure out transfer portal themselves, and also you have to make sure that, hey, my number one stars, right now someone just threw Miami in the mix. Mm-hmm. That's where I'm like, all right. I'm done with college football. This is a bunch of crap, man.
Oh, it's Brews Day. Former Gamecock Ryan Brewer hanging out with us. Up next, we'll talk a little A&M, arguably the best team in America. That's next here on the Postgame Show on the Game.
About integrated media, holidays are basically upon us now, at least according to television commercials, but soon enough it will be here, whether it's the parades, the dog show, all of the football, your favorite holiday movies and television programs. Watch it all better than ever with integrated media getting into your house. Maybe it's time for an upgrade to the home theater system you already have with the latest in 4K technology, OLED technology, or brand new sound with Dolby Atmos throughout the entire house, whether it's in the ceiling, in the wall, or the flexibility of the Sonos speakers. By the way, these things make great gifts. I'm telling you, those Sonos speakers are amazing. I actually had somebody in my family asking about a Sonos soundbar recently. They can get that for you at Integrated Media. Same prices for the equipment as the big box stores, but you get expert analysis all the way through it. 803-948-8327. No matter what you want in home theater, nobody better than Integrated Media.
It's a Brews Day on the postgame show. Ryan Brewer hanging out with us. We'll get the reset of our start bench drop from Jay. But Shane Beamer, speaking to the media earlier today, coming off a bye week, was discussing Mike Furry taking over as the offensive coordinator / play caller going into the A&M game. And this is to Ryan's point about Furry being a bit more vocal than a more laid-back Mike Shula. Here's Shane talking about it.
I believe that players in so many ways take on the personality of their coach, and Mike Shula's personality is different than Mike Furry's, and doesn't mean that one's right or wrong. Mike Shula's won a lot of football games and has called plays in the Super Bowl and has been an SEC head coach that won double-digit games with that personality, so it doesn't make it wrong. Mike's personality is different, and it is a different voice, and there's a different energy, vibe, whatever you want to call it, in those offensive meetings and on the offensive field. We did a period in practice last week against the defense, the first offense versus the first defense, where we said it was third down, and I told Mike, hey, you got 2 downs to get there. He said, do I have 2 downs? And meaning, if I don't get it on third down, are we going to go for it on fourth down? He said, do I have 2 downs? And I said, yes. And he's like, doesn't matter, I only need 1. And then when he got out there and he got the first down on third down, that's just his mentality. And you hope Lenoris and the quarterbacks and the rest of the offense kind of feed off that, confidence and energy. But what gives you confidence in a game is going out there and performing well. So that's what's going to matter, is coaching well and playing well on Saturday against a really good defense and a really good team in a really challenging environment that we'll be going into.
And to your point, Ryan, it's just a different mindset, more vocal guy, a little bit more outwardly.
I love it, man. I feel like I said, I feel more confident myself as a fan. I'm not even out there strapping up, but that you have a guy now that's going to bring more fire. Just when it comes to energy level itself. And again, you saw Shula, you heard him in pressers. There wasn't energy. There was none. Now, I don't know if that was different on the field with the players, but I would doubt that it's nowhere near what these guys are bringing. And really, Mike has nothing to lose either. Like, this is something, hey, man, it's thrown in your lap. This is one, you didn't ask for this.
Right.
Now it's your time to shine. You could take it and run with it. It's like next man up or anything else. This could be something now. You were given a big present to say, hey, let's see what you can do. And I think it's a guy that's going to grab the bull by the horns and say, let's have some fun with this and let's play some ball. And when a coach gets excited about a play call, I think I can't remember what NFL was the Lions when they called the play and coaches already, he knew it was a first down before it was even snapped. And he's like, that's something he knew going in there. You're excited about the play and how what's going to happen there. That's big, and you can that will, like Coach said, the players will take on that persona. They'll if he has that attitude, they'll have that attitude. Now, I'm really excited to see what'll happen.
All right, let's take that feeling and then let's go one step further with it here, because if South Carolina has hopes for a bowl game, whatever the bowl may be, they can't lose. So you are now quite literally in must-win territory, must-win mode. So
Jay, you say that every week. We're in must-win game 1. But yes, I understand what you're saying. For bowl game,
no,
yes.
Usually what I'll say is that you better win mode, but now it really is. Now it really is. So how do you deal with that, I suppose, is the question. I mean, are players, for lack of a better way to ask you this, are players allowed to think that way when it comes to the situation Carolina's in?
They're going to think that way, but they should not think that way. And the reason I say that is a football game is just, I don't know, 50, 60 plays max at the most of one play at a time. That's all you can control. You can only control yourself. You can't control anybody else if you're playing, and you can only control what happens in that one snap. That 6 seconds you're out there, busting your ass is all you can control. And then the next one, and then the next one. You don't have time to think, well, if I have to break this tackle right here or do this right here to win a bowl game, to be eligible for a bowl game. That's a big picture problem that I have no control over right now. I can only control what happens when that ball's in the air if I'm a kick returner, if that ball's before it's snapped, if I have to make this block, if I have to do this run, if I make somebody miss, if I'm on defense, I can only control what I control in front of me, and that's how they play the game. That 6 seconds, and then after that's done, that play is done and done for the rest of at least that game, until you watch film, you'll get yelled at or praised for it, and then it's done for the rest of your life, unless it was a really good play and you can talk about it at the bar with your friends 50 years later. So that's the game. It's the game within the game. That's all you can do. So as a player, I don't really give a, yes, I want to make it to a bowl game. Yes, I want to win this game, but I can't think about it that way. I want to win this battle, this 6 seconds I have in front of me right now, and that's all I can do.
Speaking of the battle and like Jay's big picture, your small picture of this whole thing, you're gonna go to College Station, a weird place to play, with yell guys and all the kooky chants and everything else they do there.
Less distractions, man. You can't. You're gonna have no one's gonna tap on your shoulder and say, "Hey, look at the cheerleader over there."
Right.
So it's
just a kooky. But you're playing. My point is, you're playing arguably the best team in America. I mean,
I think they are.
I mean, people have gone there and won because forget the atmosphere. The team hasn't been as good as they are this time. So I guess my point, my question to you is, when you go into a game like this, you've got all this stuff going on. But isn't the opposite, and I know what you're saying, you're exactly right, I just got to win the next play. If I win enough next plays, I win the game, or I control my part of winning the game. How much of it do you look at this, where you're at, what this team is, and for you as a player, what was better for you when someone was saying, hey, dude, we got nothing to lose, go hang and let it loose, and let's just go play with our hairs on fire, or if it's more of like it's the best team in America, we've got to focus and hunker down this way. Which mindset, coaching-wise, did you appreciate more? Let's be loose and go play. We got nothing to lose here. Let's just go kick some ass, or more of a button-down approach to a game like this?
That's a good question, but we were always the underdog with Coach Holtz. No matter who we were playing, they're going to kick our ass. It didn't matter by 40. That's just how he wanted us to be. We were always our backs against the wall, and we got to fight our way out type mentality. And I love that. I mean, I want when I'm done for everybody to go, holy crap, they shouldn't have done that. And I can say, yeah, well, I thought we should have, but I had to prove it to you. I'm going to prove it to you every time that I am better than you, even though you think you're better than me. So I like that mentality. Some people like to be out there and be a little bit looser and say, or say, hey, we should win this game, but I'm going to prove it that way why we should win this game. But it's you against the world thing that's how I've always been. I've always been the underdog no matter what I was doing, and I'm cool with that. I want to be that way. I want to prove that I'm not.
What's your comfort level?
Yeah, so it's I like going to opposing stadiums. I like when the crowd's loud. I like when they're cussing me out or making doing things at me. I love that. I want more of it. Give me everything you have and then some. So that makes me more excited. My energy level goes up, and then I feel like I could run through a wall at any moment because you're talking crap about me. So that's I like that. So you go in there. I'm hoping they have that mentality. You go into a place that I have never been to, never played at, so I can't but it looks awesome. It looks like a fun place to play. And I hope they bring the noise and bring the energy, and we shut them up.
Well, that's another thing. It's going to be 11 o'clock in the morning out there. I'm sure we've discussed this before, but I'll bring it up again. Do you think that matters for the road team or for anybody?
Yeah, yes, especially when you have such a big spread here and they're supposed to win by so much. That's the type deal. The crowds maybe stay. They didn't get to start drinking a little bit, later, and they're going to, so I will stay here for a little bit until the game starts. And you saw a little bit of that when I was at Ole Miss too. It's like, we're just going to hang out here for a little bit until because they thought, we're going to walk all over them. It's okay. That's a little bit different, but I also think because we are a morning late afternoon practice team, so our body's used to this kind of stuff. So I think that's a big win in our favor too. I don't know what Texas A&M does for practice, but now we've talked about this, and I've talked to about a bunch of people about it. Your body gets used to what you do every day. So if you practice in the morning every day, that's what your body's used to be on your peak performance at that time of the day. So at night games, I think there's times where like, hey, I was supposed to be 9 to 11 or 9 to noon or noon to whenever your practice is. That's when my body was supposed to do that, and now all of a sudden it can throw you off a little bit. So I like that in our favor as well.
All right, Brews Day. We'll talk with former Gamecock Ryan Brewer. His thoughts on the field Saturday. What the Gamecocks have to do to find a shock the world and take out Texas A&M. Also, we'll reset start bench drop with our buddy Jay Phillips. It's a post-game show on Brews Day on the game.
Holiday season is upon us. Gathering family and friends around that beautiful fire, long been a tradition all across the country. Palmetto Propane is now ready to help you upgrade your fireplace, whether it's propane or natural gas, with premium gas logs and complete installation and service. Get into a Palmetto Propane Hearth and Patio Home Store showroom, and there you can see and feel what these fireplaces would look like in your home. Plus, they have outdoor fire features. They've got gas logs, grills, Renai tankless water heaters, gas lanterns, generators, and so much more to make life more comfortable and more efficient. Again, they've been known for their expertise and experience since 1959. You can check them out online at palmettopropane.com. Visit the showrooms in Lexington, West Columbia, Batesburg, Aiken, and Augusta. Palmetto Propane, delivering propane and fuels to homes and businesses since 1959. Learn more right now at palmettopropane.com.
Brews Day on the postgame show. Ryan Brewer in the house. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford, postgame show. Ryan Brewer's here every week. Not because he really wants to be, because the incredible amount of money he makes from his sponsor, Ryan Brewer Fence, which is what keeps you in the expensive lifestyle you're accustomed to.
It is. I'm not sure the ROI of me being in here, where it stands, but I'm sure it's, I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it's phenomenal for looking numbers. But let's make it go up a little bit. Yeah,
we'll commission a study.
Yeah, we need to do that. So, but let's make it go up a little bit. So, if you need a fence, need some railings, custom gates, anything like that, go to ryanbrewer.net. I'm not a fence company, Ryan Brewer Fence. We've been doing for 20 years with a great team, professionals that go out the whole state that can take care of any of your fencing needs with ornamental fence, your chain link, your vinyl, privacy. You dream it up, we can do it for you. But so go to ryanbrewer.net, all our socials, and we'll hook you up.
What if I wanted like 5 styles of fence in one yard? Can you do that?
I can. It's a little bit more difficult, Jay. You were close. But, yeah, we can do it. We can do it. We'll accommodate for sure.
There you go. That's it. That's all I'm asking for. And the metal shop.
Yep, metal shop, so fabrication shop, and the all the wall art stuff that you can get for Christmas coming up. We'll we got just said most of it's online, and we're working on revamping our website as well as we speak.
How much of that are you involved in?
Majority of it.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're a web designer now too.
Look at you.
I do what I can do. It's probably why it looks like it does right now. So, but that's.
Hey, by the way, Brewer spelled wrong, Ryan.
It could be. It could be. Yeah, I've known to spell some things wrong. Got hit in the head a lot, so I can't see straight all the time. So,
all right, so Saturday, besides, all that stuff you need to get you pumped up and get you ready to roll and your adrenaline and all those things you need to go out there and – because, all that stuff's great till you start hitting each other and then there's a football game.
Right.
What do you think Gamecocks have to do besides obviously not to turn the ball over and all those cliches? What has to happen Saturday?
We cliche this one out the building, but we talked off air about if you're the underdog versus if you're the highly expected to win team, and right now A&M is supposed to beat the doors off us. Mm-hmm. They have we have nothing to lose. They have everything to lose when it comes to it. Their undefeated season. They really have a Sanford coming up in Texas after that, which will be a huge game. Mm-hmm. So this is where I've said, be the spoiler. Let's get that first loss, on their schedule. Go out there and hopefully you have a little more energy, fire, do some fun things out there. And I think you kind of get them in the old crap mode if we come out firing and get a score on them, because what we did last year, these guys still have, they that's their story. They're going to say, that was a fluke. We're going to come out and prove that was a fluke type deal, what they did to us last year. Well, if we come in there and start, put it down their throats right away, put the ball in the end zone and make a stop, then you may start puckering up a little bit. And that's where we want to be.
To your point, these guys are in rarefied air for A&M. They're not used to being the top dog and being the hunted and all that other stuff like they're going to be on Saturday, right?
I think yes and no. They're not, but at the same time, they pretty much whipped up on Missouri, whipped up on LSU. That same deal. They're the top dog, and they're coming in here undefeated. So each game right now, they
build more confidence.
They're building more confidence. Yeah. So, but it's time where maybe you got to get out early on them and keep the foot on the really. I want to see what we're doing special teams. That's a big deal right now. They have all three phases going on fire. So it's going to be things where everything has to hit. Our punts have to hit where they need to hit. Or if we have a return, we got to get positive yards on things. We got to make something special happen there. Defensively, I trust in White, what he's going to do. But this offense they have coming at us is coming full cylinders. But we're going to throw some things at them, some twists, some stunts and things, and confuse the quarterback and get a turnover, which they are not turnover-prone team. But so we start doing things like that. If things like that happen early, that's where – like Coach said, we've been in almost every game to the fourth quarter. It's finish the daggone game. Go out there with some pride, with the Gamecock on your front, and represent the school, represent yourself, and go out there and play your ass off.
Well, and again, Ryan, have fun, and I don't know how much that translates into what they're doing in practice, but to me, I just feel like that's maybe the most crucial part of this. Seriously,
you can go out there and have fun with some plays and make some big plays individually. You can do that, but when it all comes down to it, it's nothing's fun when there's a loss when the end of the game. Everything you've did there, you can say, and I'd say that kind of tongue in cheek because you can have a game, and I've had some where I was like, man, that was a fun game. I played my tail off, but when then you go in the locker room and you see how it is, you're like, man, we just lost. So it's not fun anymore. But it all comes down to going out there, and at the beginning of the game, let's play a little bit. Not loose, but like you said, fun. Let's go out there and make some plays and have some some ball plays that maybe these guys aren't used to, and let's go out there and shock the world.
I think you also have to go. I read something from a great motivational speaker once named Ryan Brewer said, "Just go hate everybody.
Just hate everybody."
Sure,
this is one. This is the game. Hate them all.
We need T-shirts.
Yeah,
I hate everybody.
Hate them all. Right when you cross the freaking line, you hate everybody.
Appreciate you, my man. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Brew.
All right, guys, go Gamecocks.
Ex-Gamecock Brian Brewer, former Gamecock Brian Brewer, hanging out with us. Hour 2 of the postgame show coming up.
Griffin Pools and Spas ready to keep you and your family happy all year long. And listen, I know it's not pool time right now, especially these last couple of days because it's been cold. But if you got a heated pool, you can jump in. Or if you're that polar bear type, it's also a great time to get ahead of next spring's pool rush if you want to go ahead and get an in-ground pool built. You could be like, I can't say the specific name because there's copyright things, but you all seen the great holiday movie where the dad wants to get the family a pool and then, hilarity ensues. Well, minus the hilarity, go ahead and call Griffin Pools and Spas right now. They're ready to help you out with an in-ground pool. 957-2121. Maybe a brand new hot tub or spa for the family this holiday season and for many years to come. They can do that for you, too. Stop in and see all they can do for you. Maybe you already got a pool. Get all the accessories you need to make things that much more fun. Steps away from the Lake Murray Dam and always online at griffinpoolsandspas.com.
Quick check on the traffic. A disabled vehicle, Forest Drive at I-77. Couple of accidents to report. Trenholm Road at Highway 12, Forest Drive, and Two Notch Road at North Grampian Hills Road. Post-game show. Terry Ford, Jay Phillips. Ryan Brewer now out of the house. Got to go work on the website.
Yeah, good for him.
How about that guy? Web designer and everything now.
There's another thing that I can add to, and I just realized I didn't do the full-on Ryan Brewer thing. Should I do it now?
Yeah, I mean, you got snot in the brain, so you weren't thinking
I'm
clear.
a little under the weather, so I'm not the speed with which I can typically speak is.
Go ahead and do it. Pretend like he's here. All right, ready. Hey, it's Brews Day here on the game with our buddy, former Gamecock Ryan Brewer in the house. Jay, tell us about Ryan Brewer.
Former Gamecock wide receiver, running back, punt returner, kick returner, special teams gunner, team captain, husband, father, soccer coach, business owner, and now web designer, an all-around man about town. Ryan Brewer.
Pretty impressive.
Thanks.
That's a good deal.
That's it. That's all I got for you.
You done now? Take a nap.
I know we got a few different things to get to, and there's plenty of stuff. Shane had a good press conference today, I thought. Had the one really protracted answer about former offensive coordinators that I thought was interesting. I know you'll get to that a little bit later on. But two things today that have nothing to do with each other. Number one, Brian Kelly last night, we did this during the news yesterday, that if Brian Kelly's camp didn't have an answer from LSU, at least the answer that Brian Kelly wanted, by 6 p.m. Central Time, they were going to file suit against LSU and the state of Louisiana, and they have. I did read in that, Terry, that Brian Kelly's people – so remember, if you didn't hear it yesterday, Scott Woodward, the former AD, offered Kelly a $25 million one-time lump sum to walk away, even though Kelly was owed $54 million. Then they came back a couple days later with a $30 million offer paid over 2 installments. So whether it was 15 each, I don't know. It could have been $29 million and then $1 million. I don't know. Kelly's people, though, Terry, did counter with a $43 million one-time payment, and LSU said no. So I'm wondering if they're going to meet in the middle of that somewhere, or now if Kelly's going to push for the full 54. But our buddy Matt Moscona reported today that apparently, according to some of the minutia of the bylaws of either LSU athletics or maybe even how the state operates, Scott Woodward alone did not have authority to fire Brian Kelly because Brian Kelly makes more than $250,000. So, if you thought this thing was messy and then it got messier, how much messier can it get? Because it seems to have done so overnight.
Well, look, here's my thing. I don't care, and I know I've seen what you've read too about the whole Louisiana, bylaws, whatever the case. I don't care what your state's bylaws are, your laws, your rules, your regulations. You look petty and stupid. You have a contract. The contract was signed by two parties that said this is the buyout number. And I don't, okay, Scott Woodward doesn't have the authority. Okay. But guess what? You relieve the coach of his duties. He was not there on the sideline performing his duties, not because he didn't want to, because you canned his butt. Pay the man his bleeping money and move on. Because I'll be honest with you, if I'm a high-level coach and you're calling me and I'm seeing what you're doing to Brian Kelly, I want no part of you. I don't care how many recruits are in your state. I don't care about your lineage, your history. You look like a bunch of putzes. And I want nothing to do with your petty, ridiculous games that you're pulling. Congratulations, LSU. You've made Brian Kelly likable.
I know.
Nice job.
Crazy. The other facet of this that's interesting, and LSU so far has not commented publicly, at least, is that they may be attempting to say that he was fired for cause.
Yeah, I saw that too.
He'd be owed nothing. Now, I don't know what that would be, Terry, and I'm not suggesting that this is how they should operate. The only thing I can think of where they could say for cause, and again, I think this would be such a stretch, is how he acted the night of the A&M game, where he was berating everybody, players, staffers, how the fans booed everybody and the stadium emptied out. And I'm sorry, to me that wouldn't be for cause. And I'm not suggesting that's that, but otherwise, what do you got? And if you got something, LSU, do you have any obligation to say what it is, or is that tipping your hand for a legal case? I'm not sure, but there again, messy gets messier. Yeah. Where's the cause? I have a copy of Brian Kelly's contract in front of me, Jay, and it says cause equals creepy social media videos with recruits. There you go. Right.
There you go.
Well,
that's it. I mean,
he should have never had the job.
Yeah, exactly. Look, here's the thing. I mean, if they've got something that we don't know about that Brian Kelly did that could be used and deemed as with cause, then why are you offering him all this money in the first place to get out of the buyout? Because if you got something to pay him nothing, then why are you offering him money? Because you got him where you got to pay him nothing. And last time I checked, nothing is better to pay somebody than $25 or $30 million, right?
Yeah.
So why are you even going down that road of offering him anything if you've got something in your back pocket that you could fire him for cause? And look, if they've got something, then I'll change my thought process. But right now, from everything I've seen and seen from like legal experts and people who take care of these kind of contracts for a living, LSU's got no shot unless they've got something that nobody knows about that they're going to throw out. They look petty and small and silly. And again, if I'm a high-level coach, I'm going to have my choice of jobs. I'm not taking this because I'm watching what they're doing to a guy who, by the way, averaged about 9 wins a year.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's I keep thinking, well, this will eventually blow over, but not if you keep, stirring it up.
Yeah.
And again, this was interesting to me that LSU thinks that, again, is it a ploy to get him to renegotiate that buyout number? Perhaps.
Yeah, it feels like that, doesn't it? It feels like now we're going to throw stuff against the wall to see what can stick. Let me throw this at you, too. You got a new president, a new AD. Does this have the smell of the governor all over it? I don't have any proof, but doesn't it have this? We saw that guy's act a couple weeks ago. Doesn't it feel like something is, because again, the president just started, the AD just started. I feel like this is coming from.
The president came. The president came from within the state university system, and the AD has been on staff for
30 years, 20 years, whatever. Yeah, exactly.
So, to your point, while can't say that for certain.
It just has that smell to it, but I can't prove it.
Yeah.
I wish I could.
Yeah.
Well, I've got people investigating it because I know people, but again, right now I got no proof.
Well, again, stay tuned to our buddy Matt Moscona. He's been all over it.
God love
he's
Matt.
Had some stuff. So
good for him.
Yeah.
Good job.
The other big story, again, not around here, but Nico Harrison. You might say, "Wait, I know that name. Why do I know that name?" Yeah, that's the guy that traded Luka last year. He was fired today. Last night, the fans in Dallas once again just I say this in a tongue-in-cheek way, serenading the arena and the owner of the Mavericks with "Fire Nico" chants. They've not started well. Not that they were necessarily expected to, but a lot of people have obviously been very critical of him. Remember, Terry, he tried to say, "Oh no, it felt like it's weird." And coincidental, obviously, but it's kind of like Jerry Jones saying, "Yeah, we traded Micah, but we're better against the run."
Right.
And Nico Harrison said, "Yeah, we traded Luka, but we feel now with AD in the middle, we have a defensive presence we didn't have before." Okay, sure, but now you can't score, and Luka is a prolific scorer, but I just think this became untenable with the bad start, but you almost wonder, I don't know. The owner has basically admitted now, yeah, I told Nico he could do this. I think you nailed it last year, Terry, when this happened. This family simply didn't want to pay Luka Doncic the Supermax contract. That's what this came down to. I genuinely believe that. They just didn't want to pay Luka that much money and be hamstrung with the inability to keep the team going back deep into playoffs, because the year prior they made it to the finals. So Dallas has won championships and they've lost championships now. So they're I don't want to say they're used to it. They're not like the Lakers or the Celtics, but they've gotten more than a taste. But why do it now? I just, again, it became so untenable, I suppose.
I think you got to a point where you just had to make that move because of where you're at. You're struggling because, well, guess what? Anthony Davis is hurt again. Stunning, Jay. That never happens.
Yeah, shock.
I need a minute to get myself together. Kyrie Irving's still out with the ACL tear. Cooper Flagg has had flashes of why you drafted him, but so far he's kind of struggled consistently scoring. And
he's a rookie, and he's 19 years old.
Yeah, he's 19 years old. And so you've got everything on him now because Davis is hurt and Kyrie Irving's hurt. Cooper, you're a teenager with zits. Go carry us to victory against some of the highest level teams in the NBA. The thing has not been working. The Luka trade started a lot of this in a bad direction. And I'm going to say, look, Jay, sometimes you overthink, right? And sometimes the answer is just simple. First of all, don't buy a team if you're not willing to spend the money of the going rate of the market value to keep your assets, right?
Right.
And if you say, wait a minute,
and not just any asset,
right?
Let's
a
be honest.
Generational offensive talent. Here's what I'll give you something that a team did. The Denver Nuggets had a guy named Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic might be I'm telling you now, glaciers move faster. He can't move laterally. He's slow. But you know what he does really well, Jay? Plays offense. He's a triple-double machine. So what Denver did, they said, look, this guy is not a good defender. He's never going to be a good defender. We're going to surround him with good defenders. And Denver won an NBA championship. Dallas surrounded Luka and Kyrie with really good defenders and made it to the finals. So Dallas proved they could do it too, right? So what do? You come in and say, well, I'm going to trade the generational talents. I want a better defender. What? You made it to the finals.
Not only that, but a defender who can't finish a season.
No,
and has never. I mean, has AD played a full season since?
I don't think Jay he's ever played more than 75 games in a season, and if he has, he's done it maybe once or twice his entire career.
And that was when he was a Pelican, probably.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, the guy can't stay healthy, and so you traded for a guy who spends time sitting on the bench in street clothes. and you traded away, I'm going to say one more time, a generational offensive talent.
Yeah.
And just, again.
Kind of deserve to be fired.
And by the way, Jay, how would you like to be the guy always known as the dude who traded Luka Doncic?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose somebody else hires him, but how do you sell that to your fan base?
Yeah.
You know, now he just becomes, like we talked about yesterday, he just becomes a consultant.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Oh, that's a good gig.
Let's pay that guy a lot of monthly dough. Oh, which guy? The guy that traded Luka.
Yeah. All right, we'll come back. Shane has spoken. We'll get you some thoughts from what the Gamecock head coach had to say ahead of the game at A&M. What can Carolina do to try to turn it around and go on a 3-game win streak? Well, it got to start with one. We'll let you hear from Coach when the post-game show comes back. Most folks don't realize, but one of the nation's largest brick manufacturers is headquartered right here in Columbia, South Carolina. For nearly 90 years, U.S. Brick has been firing local clay in the Midlands. They supply the backbone for homes, for schools, for commercial projects locally and across the country, even places like Fort Knox and the Empire State Building. Today, they're a national player, but they're loyal to the home team, American-owned, family-run. Mikey Johnson and his crew do fantastic work. They are privately held and backed by a local team that's been making bricks longer than many builders have even been in business. And yes, they still pick up the phone. See their new exterior design center at 300 UG Street and kickstart your next project. Explore all the premium building materials with U.S. Brick's new design center. Whether it's brick, stone, pavers, you can see pergolas and fireplaces to give you an idea of what's going on Monday through Friday, and learn more right now at usbrick.com.
Postgame show. Jay Phillips, Terry Ford on a Brews day. Ryan Brewer was with us between 3 and 4, hanging out. We learned so many more things about him. He's a web designer. Also, he crochets. You hear when he said that he crochet a blanket?
No, I missed that part.
Yeah, so it's going to be on the website. They make fences. They can crochet. I mean, so Ryan Brewer crochet.
Sure. Everybody needs a side hustle.
Yeah, sure. Why not? All right. So Shane today, I thought was kind of interesting. Some of the stuff that he talked about with Mike Furry and Brewer talked about. They talked about the different attitude and the mindset with Furry. Look, there are a lot of offensive coordinators who are laid back, mellow guys who aren't rah-rah. Let's get that out of the way now. That's not why Mike Shula wasn't successful. He wasn't successful. It just didn't work, whether it was the offense, the play calling, the route combination, whatever it was, it just didn't work. But sometimes, Jay, it's like that next person you date syndrome when you were younger. Sometimes things get stale, right? Things get the same.
Yeah.
Then you break up, and that next person is wow. Because they're the opposite. You're really kind of looking for the opposite of the last one in some ways sometimes, right? So, Not that I've ever gone through this, but I've heard. So, all of a sudden, like that next person is, wow, oh my gosh, the last one was kind of mellow and laid back, and this one's exciting and fun, and oh my gosh, we're stealing things from the store, and we're being chased by the police. Oh, I love her. Again, I just made that up. It's never happened. But could that be the thing here? You got Furry, who's more intense, more, just more. He kind of pops personality-wise. You've interviewed him. I've interviewed him. He's energetic. Maybe at this point, when you've had such an unsuccessful run this year and you're all frustrated and everybody's been beaten down by not scoring a lot of points, maybe this is the personality that can help you not say win games, but maybe get you in the right mindset to go be more productive on offense in the last 3.
Well, I think you've got to find some button to push. I don't know what that looks like. And again, Shane mentioned it today in the presser. We're not making wholesale changes. He was asked about what the different tweaks could look like and things like that. And I know we'll get into a couple of these. In fact, let's do that. Terry, cut number 2. Can we do that one? Again, Carolina's only scored the most they've scored on offense, not in a game, but on offense, is 22 points against Alabama. That's it. In the games where they've scored more than that, they've had what I've called supplemental touchdowns. Here's Shane on how this change might lead to more offensive points.
I hope. Certainly. They did a great job. I was able to watch a little bit of that game, or we're actually Emily and Hunter and I were at dinner on Saturday night, and we were the rude people in the restaurant that put the game on my wife's phone at the table so we could watch overtime of the Vanderbilt-Auburn game. But, yeah, they did a great job. But it's week to week in this league. There's no question about it. But that is a great example, David, of a offense that had struggled for the most part this year, that new play caller came in and did a great job. Whatever they did, I didn't really study it, what they were doing. I hadn't really seen much of Auburn on tape this year other than against, I guess, A&M. We're seeing them some this week. But they did a good job, and I would hope that we would have similar results. That would be nice.
So the premise of that question was Auburn, having scored 3 points the previous week against Kentucky, pushed Vandy to overtime where they scored 38 points, Terry. So it was in Auburn is the point. Is it in South Carolina? We have to find out.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you're hoping for is just, whether it's, and Auburn didn't change the offensive coordinator. They just changed the head coach.
Right.
And so we'll see. I mean, what are you going to do different? There's not a whole lot you can do. You're not going to flip an offense upside down and all of a sudden, you're running 7 wide receivers. It's going to be what are you going to do? You guys have different formations? It's like you and I have talked about. Just take different plays. You're going to really skim this thing down to the plays you think you do best and move everything else out. Is it going to be, let's just think less and play and go with the things that are the most streamlined or the things that, we don't have to, again, get out of our own head? I don't know, but I think we're all hoping. We all have here's what we want to see different, right? Everybody's got that right now, but it all equals one thing. We want to see more bleeping points.
Right. And then number one, Terry, if we could, did we have time for that one? Yeah, we got time for that.
Oh,
right.
we got
cut
time.
number one. All right, good. Cut number one. Good question here. With a change like this, going on the road to A&M, can you maybe catch A&M napping a little bit?
Yeah, I would say though that's every week. You want to throw some things at teams that they don't expect. I mean, we see it every week because of some of the stuff we've done on special teams. Teams change what they do a lot of the times on Saturdays from a special team standpoint because they're trying to combat some of the stuff that we do to teams from a special team standpoint, and then we have to adjust. So I don't think you'd be doing a great job as a coach if you're not throwing wrinkles, new stuff, plays off plays, whatever it may be. We always try and do that, offense, defense, and special teams. But certainly, Jordan, when you have a change at coordinator, I don't know if they're watching South Carolina stuff. I don't know if they dug up old Limestone College video, Georgia State video, whatever it may be. West Virginia when Blackwell was there with some of those guys, Will Greer and those guys back in the day. Shout out to Coach Chad Greer. So I think you're always trying to do that, but definitely when you have an off week and you have a new play caller, there's certainly some wrinkles. But Coach Elko is a brilliant coach, and those defensive coaches are paid well out there to stay on top of that. And then whatever new that we may show Saturday, they'll do a great job of adjusting to it, and then we've got to do a great job adjusting to that.
I get where the question comes from, and I think it's a fair question, Terry. I think Shane's last point, though, kind of hit it. Mike Elko, last year, maybe A&M was still in that battered Aggie syndrome mode,
right,
that they've gone through for the last 30, 40 years or maybe their whole existence. And this year, he has found a way to strip that away from them, so far at least. And there's very little reason to believe otherwise at this point. It doesn't mean South Carolina gets blown out. I mean, the spread's 18.5 now. Maybe that doesn't happen. But in terms of catching A&M off guard, I mean this in a good way. I don't know what that would look like for South Carolina. You know what I mean? Like, I just – how many wrinkles can you really throw in to where you do something that A&M – even if they're not expecting it, can't handle it. You know what I mean?
Well, the way they've been playing, they're handling everything, right? I mean, that's just the reality of how well they're playing. And, again, Eli Drinkwitz, who we always, begrudgingly give him props for how good of an offensive mind he has. They were interviewing him post-game, Jay, and they were talking about, like, some of the stuff that A&M threw at them, and Drinkwitz was like, they got us. I'm paraphrasing. He's like, we had no answers. We had no adjustments. And every time we adjusted, they adjusted, and we couldn't do anything. And, of course, you're running your third-string quarterback who's 16 years old and doesn't have a driver's license. But still, Elko we forget something about Elko. He's a very good defensive mind. And so it's going to be interesting what happens on Saturday going up against that guy and that defense.
And Missouri still had 200-yard rushers.
That's the thing. They ran the ball really well in that football game. Now, again, I didn't watch the whole game and how it played itself out, but they did have success through that football game running the ball. Now, again, that hasn't been South Carolina's wheelhouse, but there's something that's got to be there on film to say, okay, what can we do to take away from what Missouri did that maybe we can run the ball a little bit on this team if we do some different stuff with formations, right?
Yeah, right. So we'll see. Well, a little bit more from Shane on the other side of the break here, and we'll revisit our start bench draft. I'll do it right now for you. It's, again, Thanksgiving themed. Very simple. Start bench drop these holiday classic desserts: apple pie, pecan pie, pumpkin pie. And I threw in a twist for those of you who've ever gotten to experience my mom's old chocolate chip pecan pie that she sold many of throughout her career. But if you want to add that one in, hey, by all means, have at it. But
that's
otherwise,
a winner,
just go with
dude.
the classics.
That's a winner right there. That pie is a winner.
I'm gonna get. I'll get you. We got to do that for you and a deep fried turkey. So
Yes.
I've got stuff to do.
Okay, so here's
Although,
where
again,
I'm at.
I'm not going to deep fry you a turkey, but we could get you somebody that will.
Well, we got to get a deep fried turkey and that pie, and we got to have it. We got to do it by Thanksgiving. We'll have a big Thanksgiving feast.
All right, that's the goal.
Hey,
Apple,
ready?
pecan.
You make the pie. We'll get somebody make the turkey, and what I'll bring to the table is I'll eat them both.
Nice. Hey, look. Hey, we all have to have a job.
That's
cool.
what
we all have roles.
Yes.
ROLES roles, but you can bring ROLLS too. See what I did there? Thank you very much. Apple, pecan, pumpkin, start, bench, drop. It's the post-game show.
Let's get a quick check on the traffic. Only a couple accidents. So far, so good. We're doing all right. One accident reported 2 Notch Road near Sparkleberry Lane. We do have heavy traffic. Sunset Boulevard westbound between Corley Mill Road and Hope Ferry Road. And we have a disabled vehicle, I-26 westbound at St. Andrews Road, exit 106. Come back, more from Shane Beamer and some start bench drop. Pumpkin pie, apple pie, pecan pie. That's the kind of stuff, hard-hitting topics we're getting into next here on the post-game show. All right, post-game show. Terry Ford, Snotty J. Don't forget, we got 5:30. We got hoops. We haven't talked about that yet. The women go at it tonight against Clemson. 5:30 pregame, 6 o'clock tip. Again, Clemson getting better. They're becoming better. Probably still maybe a year away from really being like anywhere near what this level of South Carolina. But it should be a better game than it's been in the past. I still think Gamecocks win, but Clemson might give them a little bit more of a run than usual. We'll see. 5:30 pregame, 6 o'clock.
Carolina fans don't want to hear that, do they?
Nah, I mean, I still think South Carolina wins easy, but Clemson's getting better.
Yeah, I think so.
I hear they're
making an effort.
They're recruiting.
Yeah, they're
women's
making
basketball.
an effort.
So, but that's tonight, 5:30 pregame, 6 o'clock tip here on 107.5 The Game in Columbia.
All right, hey, also tonight, CFP poll number 2. Do you believe A&M will pass Indiana?
Okay, it's a two-part question. Do I believe they will? Yes. Do I think they should? Yes. How's that sound? I think A&M's resume is better. Indiana, look, it's a week-by-week thing, right, Jay, to a point, even though they don't want to say it. Indiana has the best win in Eugene, Oregon. But, be honest with you, as we go along, the Notre Dame win, because the Irish keep winning and beating, I mean, they're beating cupcakes, but they're winning. So, Notre Dame is pretty highly rated as well, and A&M's body of work past those two games is better. So I think A&M should be. I said to you before, I think their resume is better than Ohio State's. I think A&M should be at number 1 right now. But I do think they will go past Indiana. In my opinion, they should go past Indiana.
Yeah, I agree. Look, I get that Ohio State's going to still be number 1 just because they're Ohio State, and that's how that kind of thing works. But I'm looking here at A&M. A&M beat Notre Dame, Florida by 17, LSU in Baton Rouge by 24, Missouri on the road by 21. They did have to slip by Arkansas in Fayetteville, 45-42. Again, it wasn't maybe that close, but nevertheless. And then the Auburn game is the weird outlier. So, I don't know. I feel and I don't want to sound like just some SEC coverage guy or bias guy or whatever else. But I do think that A&M's resume, those wins are better. But I'm with you. Indiana has the single best win. And so I think that matters too. And the way Indiana won the other day was impressive. I think the committee will give them some props for that rather than say, hey, you didn't cover the 14.5-point spread. Because I think we know Penn State is better than their record would indicate from a talent perspective. For whatever reasons, it's just gotten away from Penn State this season, and we know most of those reasons. But I think they should, Terry, but I'll differ with you in that I don't think they will pass them. I think it'll still be – I think the same top 5 will remain this week. Yeah, they'll change it eventually, but I don't know if they are – dare I say, if the committee is brave enough yet to put A&M a step higher, despite having gone on the road and won in the same fashion that Indiana did. They'll say, well, how much better is Missouri than Penn State, really? Or something like that. You know?
And they could, and because, again, this committee, it's funny that the basketball school with no tradition all of a sudden is getting the benefit of the doubt. I find that hilarious. And
right.
I find it, and really the Oregon win is carrying so much weight still. I guess my thought is this: is if they want to knock the fact that Missouri is playing their third string quarterback, that's fine because they'll bring that up. That would be their push. There's no doubt. But to me, Indiana barely survived beating a team that's has been defeated by Northwestern and UCLA and hasn't won a game since a non-conference and is winless in its league. But they will go to. But to your point, they will go to the other thing we've talked about. Penn State's got a lot of talent. They just they had a quarterback injured and the head coach got fired. So you know what they're going to use to justify keeping Indiana too. But I think Texas A&M should leapfrog them. And Texas A&M has a win this year that nobody else has. Jay, they beat a team so bad their coach got fired.
Right. Yeah, I mean they ruined everything at LSU. They went to Baton Rouge and upset the apple cart. And again, in all seriousness, how I'd like to know. And here again is why I'd like to see some more things public, from the committee. How much better does the committee believe Indiana's win at Oregon is relative to A&M's win at Notre Dame? And the reason I ask it that way, because on the surface you might say, oh my God, winning at Oregon is way harder. All right, maybe, but Oregon's number 7 and Notre Dame's number 10.
Yeah.
In the last CFP, they're right there together. So, I guess actually was Oregon number 8. So, I mean, where are the fine lines? I'll be curious to. I'd like to know more about that, but I don't know that we'll get that from Mac Rhodes in his, softball question Q&A with Reese at 7:30 tonight.
Ready? But no, I want the question. I want them to ask Mac Rhodes. You brought it up to me today. I didn't know about the story that you brought up to me today about Mac Rhodes and the dude in the shirt.
Yeah. So there's a kid, and I forget the kid's name. I apologize. But it's a kid at Baylor who was hurt and had on a different colored shirt because he had a brace on his arm, and so he put on a shirt under his jersey that was different than the long sleeves that other Baylor guys that were active were wearing. And apparently Mac Rhodes, just like in front of God and everybody on the sideline in Waco, berated the heck out of the kid and cussed at him and all kinds of stuff for wearing a different color. And apparently the guy's position coach was there and immediately stuck up for him. And Dave Aranda found out, and he was mad at Mac Rhodes. And Mac Rhodes ultimately had to apologize. How he did so, I'm not sure if it was in person or in writing. And then the school came out and said, yeah, we investigated it, and, with our values, we handled it, and whatever, all that kind of stuff. But I'm like, dude, why are you yelling at a kid who isn't playing anyway? What do you care? And why are you down there anyway? That's not your job. You're the football team isn't your job,
Right.
It was kind of an odd story, but yeah, I don't think Mac will be. I don't think Reese goes there tonight. Maybe he does. Reese has a lot of journalism in him, but I doubt he goes there tonight.
How awesome would it be if he did? He goes, Mac, let's cut the crap here. What's up with the kid in the T-shirt? What are you doing?
Yeah.
What's up here? But you know what I always find funny?
Apparently the kid had like a gold or yellow shirt on instead of green. Under his jersey rather. But again, he was hurt. He had like a brace on. So it's like, gee whiz, man. Who cares?
I always find it funny when Baylor puts out any kind of statement that has the word values in it. Just saying.
It is difficult for them in today's world. Yes.
Yeah, just saying. Let's go back and look at your history, Baylor. Let's not go there.
Yeah. I know they're trying to get away from all that, but nevertheless,
Anyway.
I don't know that upholds those things when you're cussing at a kid and berating him in front of everybody.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Not a good look.
Not a good look. All right, real quick, while we're thinking about this for a sec. Now, right now the SEC has 5 teams that could be in the college football playoff because Texas has snuck themselves in. I think Texas is going to lose at least one more game, if not 2. And I think they'll be out. I have that feeling.
Well, I think I think they lose this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. And they could lose at home to A&M as well.
Yeah.
So, okay, so if they're out, I mean, Vandy could sneak back in if they beat Tennessee in Knoxville. I mean, that's going to be a large chore, but
if Vandy runs the table, they're in.
Yep. And I'm not lying. I'm rooting for it. I'm rooting for it.
Yeah, I think they're in, man. I mean, they have what's the other one? They have Kentucky. Is that right?
Kentucky and Tennessee. Yep.
Yeah, I think they're in.
I would love to see them run the table and get in the college football playoff. I would love to see Diego Pavia in the college football playoff.
Be great.
Yeah.
I'm totally here for it.
I am here for it. Look, Texas. Look, I'll give them credit because remember we threw them out a long time ago, right? And they've kind of gotten it together, and they've only lost 2 games. But don't they just feel underwhelming?
They do because Kentucky overtime. They lost to Florida. Yeah, they're good. Texas is good, Terry. Texas is not elite.
No.
Texas is good, but Texas is probably going to – I'm with you. I feel like Texas is going to finish 8-4.
Yep, that's where I'm at. I think they lose to A&M and they lose to Georgia.
Yeah.
I'm with you, sir.
So, but, A&M's going to get in. Alabama's going to get in. Georgia and Mississippi should be there. Oklahoma still has a.
They're lurking.
Again, Oklahoma, Alabama this weekend is a big game.
If Oklahoma wins that game, they should be in because they'll run the table the rest of the year.
If Vandy's 10-2, I don't know how you keep them out.
I don't either. Go Vandy, baby.
Yeah,
I'm in, man. I'm gonna have to get a Vandy T-shirt for the rest of the year.
they sell them.
Just saying.
Get one.
All right, Jay versus Nay. Are you ready for a snotty Jay versus Nay?
Yes, I am.
All right, good deal. Post-game show. That's next. All right, before we roll off to some Jay or Nay, let's reset our start bench drop. All right, we get out of here at 5:30. You get out of here in about 10, 11 minutes so you can take a nap and blow your nose. So let's get our start bench drop results in here real quick, and then we'll move on to Jay or Nay, bub.
All right, we're start benching and dropping classic Thanksgiving desserts, although these are, just classic fall desserts, but we'll go specifically to Thanksgiving because it's that time of year. Apple, pecan, pumpkin. Andrew hits us, says start pecan pie, the goat of pies. All right. Bench pumpkin pie. He says, although my mom does one with a chocolate base that is insanely good.
That sounds good.
Yeah, see, that's kind of like my mom's chocolate chip pecan pie, which is, again, phenomenal. And he says, cut apple pie. Someone had to go. I get you. Randy, on the other hand, says, I'm going to catch flack for my drop, but start apple pie, bench pumpkin pie, drop pecan pie. He says pecan pie is gross.
What?
Ooh, I disagree.
What?
I disagree.
No, sir. It is not gross.
I'm a sucker for pecan pie.
I love pecan pie.
Since I'm since we did this with Ryan, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start my mom's chocolate chip pecan pie. I'm just going to take the liberty. I'm going to bench pumpkin pie, and I'm going to drop apple pie. Again, I love apple pie, but apple pie is a little more famous and a little more accessible on a regular basis. And there's something about pumpkin pie this time of year that lends itself to the season. So I'll bench that one. And I love apple pie. Again, you got to drop something. That's
right.
part of this exercise. So I'll drop apple.
All right, I'm gonna start your mom's pecan pie with the chocolate chip, even though I never had it. It sounds fantastic. And
don't worry. Once you do, you'll be hooked. I promise.
And then you're gonna make it, so I'm looking forward to it. Okay.
Either that, or I'll get one of my kids to make it who's better at it than I am.
I will say this: that thing you made for Coach McDonald and I was phenomenal.
All right, I'm getting there. That will happen. I made a promise that it would happen. I just didn't have there's no timeline. No timeline.
All right,
and again, if I have a lot of time on my hands here soon enough, then you never know what you're going to get, man. So
all right, so I am going to go with your mom's pecan chocolate chip pie, and I love pecan pie anyway, man.
Yep, there you go.
I told you. My favorite thing at the Waffle House, pecan pie. They put it on the stove there.
On the flat top, yeah.
And what they do, they put a big slab of butter in it, and they cook the butter in it, and that's phenomenal.
Well,
of course, you need to sit down and take a nap afterwards, but it's phenomenal.
Yeah, and you need an angioplasty, but it's still great.
It's still great. I am benching apple pie. I love apple pie. And I'm like Brewer, man. I am not into the pumpkin pie. I'll eat it. I got to smother it in like whipped cream, but I can do the pumpkin pie. So I'm going to drop the pumpkin pie.
All right, that's good.
And by the way, Jeannie, our promotions director, said sweet potato pie, please.
Sweet potato pie is awesome. My mom made man, it's phenomenal. Love it.
Yeah, so
there's a lot of good ones.
So Jeannie decided to call an audible and throw in sweet potato pie. So
that'll work. I'm here.
All right, man. We'll get some start bench drop in here for you real quick, sir. All right, we need our proper music because it's not the same without the music. It's just not. We'll get it here.
No, it's not.
There we go. All right, start bench drop.
No, Jay or Nay.
Jay or Nay. I'm sorry. I've lost my mind.
Too many segments all at once.
I'm telling you. I'm not that smart. All right, Jay or Nay. Bill Belichick will be the head coach of the New York Giants next year.
Well, I mean, I saw that today, and I'm like, is this really what we're thinking about, New York Football Giants? I'm going to say nay. That'd be a mistake, in my opinion. So I'm going to say nay.
All right.
You know they should get?
Mm-hmm.
Lane Kiffin.
Why not? He's up for every job.
Well, he can coach Jackson Dart in the NFL.
Well,
Lane Kiffin.
I mean, honestly, the San Francisco Giants should have hired Lane Kiffin. I'm just saying.
Maybe.
Just saying. All right. Mike Tomlin says he has no long-term concerns about Aaron Rodgers' quality of play. Does Jay or Nay, you have concerns over Aaron Rodgers' long-term quality of play the rest of the year?
Jay, you better have long-term concerns. The man's 137 years old. I mean, he's only got so much left in him. Yeah, you better have long-term concerns. He needs to get it fixed now.
All right.
So do you have if you don't have long-term concerns, that's great. Do you have short-term concerns?
That's another question. Jay or Nay? All right, next one. What do you got? Jay or Nay, Aaron Rodgers' rest of the year concerns?
Yeah, Jay. I mean, they they're not looking great, man. No. They're kind of, they got a great defense like they always do, but they're just kind of stumbling along on offense. So
Aaron Rodgers' numbers throwing the ball over 10 yards, pathetic this year. Not good.
Yeah, not good. Not good.
All right,
So,
Jay or nay?
and by the way, I don't have to apologize for that game last night, but I will, even though I apologize for the Broncos Raiders game. That game last night was worse.
Another one. That was ugly. That was
Scoreless at halftime. Scoreless at halftime.
That was
of
terrible.
an Eagles-Packers game.
Terrible.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I know how you got sick now. You watched that game.
Yeah, I did. That's
All
my
right.
fault.
Last one. Jay or nay? Mike Loxley will be the head coach of the University of Maryland next year.
Well, he says he's not coaching for his job. Maybe he's got some intel we don't. But
new
here's the thing: I'm not sure Maryland can do a whole lot better.
I know.
Now.
Well, they couldn't do any better when they hired him.
Yeah, I'd probably keep him. I'd probably keep him. So he'll be there. Yeah, Jay, he'll be there.
Fine work, sir. We will talk to you in a couple days. Good luck to you.
Yes, I'll be out for a couple of days. Be pulling for me, and I'll keep you all updated. Appreciate you.
All right. Get healthy. Talk to you soon. CHW Cabinetry, we talk about Star and her crew all the time, and what they do, not just put high-quality cabinets wherever you want them in your home, but they also do it with the best customer service possible, photorealistic renderings to go from start to finish to show you the job and how this is going to go. They hold your hand through the whole process. They're always there for you. Star will live in your house until it's over. That's how good the customer service is. Okay, maybe not, but still, great customer service at CHW Cabinetry from start to finish. Also, fine quality work. You go to their website and you can take a look at all the fantastic things they do with cabinetry in the house, out the house, in closets, in your kitchen, dining room, living room, wherever you want cabinets, CHW Cabinetry will make it happen for you. And you can give them a call, 803-520-6837. Set up an appointment and go see the magic of CHW Cabinetry. Quick check on the roads. We have some accidents. Bluff Road at Assembly near Longwood. Also Bush River Road, US 176, Broad River Road. Clemson Road at North Springs. Also I-20 westbound at US 378. I-26 westbound at St. Andrews Road, exit 106. Two Notch at Sparkleberry Lane. Quick check on the traffic. We have some accidents to get to this afternoon. Start off with Bluff Road at Assembly Street at Longwood Road, also Bush River Road near US 76, Broad River Road. Clemson Road at North Springs, I-20 westbound at US 376, that's exit 61. I-26 westbound at St. Andrews Road, exit 106. Two Notch near Sparkleberry as well. We'll come back, give you the 5 o'clock news from Integrated Media. That is next. And don't forget, women's basketball, 5:30 pregame, 6 o'clock tip versus Clemson right here on 107.5 The Game in Columbia. Up next, though, Integrated Media's 5 o'clock news here on the postgame show on the game. Ready? All right. 5 o'clock news sponsored by Integrated Media. Terry Ford, if you're watching on the live stream, hey, how you doing? I've switched rooms. Ed Bird is here. You can see him in the other room in his sexy outfit that he always wears to produce the women's basketball game. 5:30 pregame. Brad Muller on the call. Ed Bird on the producing of Carolina women's basketball as they face Clemson. Again, 5:30 pregame on that. All right, 5 o'clock news. Shane Beamer talking to the media today at 1 o'clock. Of course, Shane, he was last week. There was no 1 o'clock presser on Tuesday because Shane, they had the off week. So Shane Beamer talking to the media. Let's get to cut 5 here. Ed Bird, talking about the edge room. There's been some injuries. Dylan Stewart's been nicked up. Here is Shane Beamer talking about the edge position and injuries and how this whole thing will shake out.
No. They're trending the right direction. You know, it makes me sad because Jalen and George were 2 portal guys that we brought in that we knew would bring help, you know, to that edge room, and they've been out the whole season, not to mention Kobe too. So breaks my heart when I walk through the training room each day and see those guys in there rehabbing, but literally just told Jalen that downstairs before I came up. You know, won't be long before he's back out there, but not trending to be ready in these next 3 weeks. Any of those guys. Ryan Brubaker now is, you know, credit to him. He missed all of spring practice essentially, and thought his injury may be long term, but he's actually back out there practicing right now and is healthy, bless you, which is pretty awesome too. I mean, what a testament to Ryan and the warrior that he is, because he had a long road ahead of him, we thought, and by no means did we think he'd be practicing in November, but he is, so that's a credit to him. But he's the only one that's back somewhat healthy, but the rest of those guys are trending in the right direction.
All right, and look, the edge room, we forget about that because a lot of these injuries were in the offseason before the year even started. But, yeah, you lost some depth there. Look, Brian Thomas has had some moments on the edge. I mean, he's not Kyle Kennard, but, again, Kyle Kennard won Nagurski for a reason. Dylan Stewart's had some injuries, been nicked up. He's been double-teamed, triple-teamed, chipped. Teams basically were like, look, Dylan Stewart is not going to beat us. He's not going to wreck our game plans. If Brian Thomas and Des Yu and JT Gear and all those other dudes can do it, fine, but Dylan Stewart's not going to beat us. And obviously not having a Kyle Kennard has, you know, been a thing. It's affected Dylan Stewart, and it's affected the pass rush as a whole. But the issues, obviously, with this football team have been on the offensive side of the ball for most of the year. Now, you have a new offensive coordinator / play caller in Mike Furry. And let's get cut to Ed Bird here when you get a second. About making this change in offensive coordinator, and obviously the goal is for it to lead to more scoring, and here's Shane talking about that.
I hope. Certainly. They did a great job. I was able to watch a little bit of that game, or we're actually, Emily and Hunter and I were at dinner on Saturday night, and we were the rude people in the restaurant that put the game on on my wife's phone at the table so we could watch overtime of the Vanderbilt Auburn game. But yeah, they did a great job. But it's week to week in this league. There's no question about it. But that is a great example, David, of a offense that had struggled for the most part this year. That new play caller came in and did a great job. You know, whatever they did, I didn't really study it, what they were doing. I haven't really seen much of Auburn on tape this year other than against, I guess, A&M. We're seeing them some this week. But they did a good job, and I would hope that we would have similar results. That would be nice.
I mean, we'll just see where this thing goes. I mean, again, calling plays and being the offensive coordinator, running your offensive limestone, obviously different than being in the SEC and doing it, especially against arguably the best team in America in Texas A&M and their dojo. So we'll see. But not to be mean, it can't get much worse than it's been. An offense that has really scuffled among the worst offenses in America. And, you know, we've talked about it all year, about whether it's the play calling that sometimes is let it, you know, just kind of make you scratch your head. Nothing. Ryan Brewer had a real interesting take on it earlier today in the 3 o'clock hour. Was like, you know, maybe the reason because again, with us, it's as simple as watching a game and going, that play works. Why don't you run it more? Or why don't you run it again, please? And Ryan said, you know, it could be more complex of, okay, you know, we run that play against a certain front or a certain coverage or in a certain situation, and that's why you're not seeing it, because they're not getting any of that to run that play because they ran that play for a certain circumstance. And sometimes as easy as this, you know what? You can't stop the play. We're going to run it again. Okay, let's run it again. All right, do it again. They still haven't stopped it. And a lot of people talk about Steve Spurrier doing that, and I always talk about in the NFL, Kyle Shanahan does that now. And it's just the idea of, okay, you can't stop the play. We're going to keep running the play. You stop the play. But it wasn't even that here. It was just the idea you would run a play in the script area of the game, you know, the first drive or two, but then it wouldn't come back again, even though that play worked to perfection. So that's been some of the frustration of play calling. I mean, the offensive self, the offensive line is scuffled, and none of this conversation matters if the offensive line gets whooped on Saturday. Nothing we're going to say about the offense and doing this or that or changing this or tweaking that. None of it matters if your offensive line gets beat. So that's like the biggest thing. The other part is obviously, you know, how you're going to get the receivers more involved. The route combinations, if you get to see the wide receivers do their thing, some of that's been very, very head-scratching. Why is everybody running deep when the offensive line can't block anybody? Yeah, kind of makes you scratch your head. So we will see what Mike Furry brings to the table. But again, we'll circle back to the fact that the offensive line can't do their job. The rest of this does not matter. And A&M, they are playing at such a high level. Ever since was it the Arkansas or Auburn game? I think the Auburn game. The offense has been rolling. And they've gotten better defensively as the season has gone on. So this is a team that's, again, you can absolutely make the case it's the best squad in America. All right, Ed Bird, I want to grab number 16 on this list. It's going to be about the search for the offensive coordinator. I want to get to that in a second. Could Mike Furry have a great 3 games and be the OC next year? Sure. If the offense averaged like 30, 35, 40 points a game from where it's at now, you go, this Furry's a bleeping genius. We have to hire this guy. So could Mike Furry impress Shane Beamer enough in a 3-game stint to be the OC? I guess. I mean, for me, that's a short body of work. And I guess if you're Shane Beamer, are you going to go into let's say South Carolina finishes 5-7, 4-8, whatever? Are you going to feel comfortable going into really what is, look, let's just call it what it is, a possible make it or break it season for yourself as a head coach of South Carolina with an offensive coordinator that has coordinated 3 games at the end of a season? I don't know about that. But could Mike Furry put himself in the mix? Sure. Let's get that cut, Ed Bird. I think it was cut, I believe it was cut 15. Let me get back to my list here. Was it 16? Okay, that's one higher than 15, right? One higher than 15 is 16? All right. Well, here's Shane Beamer talking about the offensive coordinator search.
Certainly my loyalty is to this team and doing everything that I can to help us play our best over these next 3 weeks, starting this Saturday in College Station. So there's nothing that I'm doing, Hale, that is going to take me away from preparing our team to go perform our very best on Saturday. There's nothing taking me away from that, but certainly you have an eye, going forward, no matter what the coordinator situation looks like with 26, whether it's someone that's already on staff, whether it's somebody from the outside. The fact of the matter is there's two open positions on our offensive staff that I've got to fill, and having the bye week allows you to do some things from that standpoint, kind of get the ball rolling, knowing that you have decisions that you have to make after the season. So I was able to utilize last week to do a lot of stuff: recruit, prepare for A&M, work on our own team, but then also get a head start on some staffing decisions that I have to make after the season. So I was able to do that, and kind of like when a coach when I got hired here as the head coach, I went back to Oklahoma and finished coaching out that season to win another Big 12 championship against Iowa State. So it's not the same situation. It's a lot less on my plate from that standpoint, but it's similar in that you're kind of I was doing two different jobs at once. I'm not doing two different jobs right now, but there's a little bit more that my current job entails than what it did a month ago when I didn't have two openings on the staff. But in due time, able to do what I need to do for that right now. But my primary focus is trying to go play really well and coach really well against Texas A&M, and then when the season's over, we can really commit to that full time.
Yeah. So I mean, look. When the season's over, you go really hunt down your OC. And I've heard people say, well, maybe the search won't be long, whatever. I mean, really, to me, it's just get it right. If it takes you an hour, if it takes you a month, just get it right. Because, again, when we've looked at the history of Shane here at South Carolina, the special teams have been mostly good, sometimes best in America. The defense, except for that little except for, was it 2023? 2023, the first 2 months of 2023, there were struggles. But after that, from November of 2023 on, and even 2022 and 2021, the defense, for the most part, was good. The thing that has hurt Shane at South Carolina, has held this program back from getting to the next level or another level, has been a consistent offense. It just has. And, if I'm Shane, and I'm not, and he didn't ask, which I'm hurt, but this is where you take a step back now, and just like you did 2 years ago after that 5-7 season, take a step back and say, all right, offensively, what we've been doing. Okay, what do I like? What do I don't like? Do I need to just go in a totally different direction, get someone in here who can run more of a college-type offense than with this quote-unquote pro style, whatever that means these days? That's something you can think about, too, if you're Shane. I'm hoping, just me selfishly, I would like to see someone come in here and run more of a college-style offense that takes advantage of the hashes, takes advantage of the collegiate game, and the things you can do. It's just different than the NFL. Hell, the NFL's stealing from the college game a lot these days. So maybe an offense that leans more toward what a lot of other offenses are doing in college football that are successful. I'm not above stealing anybody else's philosophy. If it helps me win games, I'm all for it. So we'll see which direction Shane goes. All right, now tomorrow we're going to do something. Post-game show, we are going to be rolling our gig live at Mount Hebron United Methodist Church at 3050 Leapart Road from 3 to 6 p.m. Saying, Tara, why are you there? Well, we need your help. Please drop off non-perishable food items to help spread a little bit of holiday cheer. We're just trying to collect some food, non-perishable food items, to help folks out in the Midlands who really need the help. Eating's kind of important last time I checked. And there are some issues in our world about food. And we're just trying to help people get their stomach full. So, again, come on out. Just drop off non-perishable food items tomorrow. Mount Hebron United Methodist Church, 3050 Leapart Road from 3 to 6 p.m. We'll be there rolling the post-game show live. Stop in. Help us out. We would greatly appreciate it. We'll come back. Shane had something to say. Speaking of offensive coordinators, Shane talked about the past offensive coordinators at South Carolina. A very interesting riff from the coach is coming up next here on the postgame show. Terry Ford, Ed Bird's here. We go till 5:30, then Carolina women's basketball, Gamecocks, Clemson Tigers, 5:30 pregame, 6 o'clock tip right here on the game. All right. If you own a home, or let's say you own a property that people live in your property, write this number down: 803-978-2025. 803-978-2025. That's the number of Kreger Showrooms, formerly The Nest. Because you eventually might need some work done, whether it's all new appliances in the kitchen, you want to redo stuff in the bathroom, you need new plumbing, new lighting, new fixtures. Again, 803-978-2025. You make that call. 70 years of experience at Kreger Showrooms in all these departments. So say I need stuff done to the bathroom. You call Kreger Showrooms at 803-978-2025. Say, I need some stuff done to the bathroom. They hook you up with an expert. You talk about budget, vision. You come in, you see the great showroom, and you walk out very happy. 803-978-2025, Kreger Showrooms on Gadsden, in the Vista. Make the call, talk to the experts. All right, we check out the Gamecock Notebook real quick. The women playing tonight, 5:30 pregame, 6 o'clock tip. Coming up next here on 107.5 The Game in Columbia is a Clemson and South Carolina, the Tigers invading CLA to take on the Gamecocks. Tomorrow, the Gamecock men will host Presbyterian, 6:30 pregame, 7 o'clock tip. Carolina calls Sunday with Shane Beamer and Todd Ellis. That is again Thursday here on the Game in Columbia and our sister station, Myrtle Beach. All right, one last cut from Shane Beamer in our Gamecock notebook. Shane talking about the offensive coordinators that he has had during his tenure at South Carolina. I believe cut 6, Ed Bird, hit it.
I'm open to anything. I push back a little bit, and you didn't say this, but I know it's a narrative out there. I push back a little bit on the narrative that we haven't necessarily haven't gotten these coordinator hires right. Have we been efficient enough on offense and consistent enough on offense? Absolutely not. But let's also not act like we've brought in 3 coordinators and we've just fired all of them and we just threw up our hands. I mean, we brought in a guy in year 1 that had been an offensive coordinator in college. Yes, he had a pro background. Well, that pro background was with Joe Brady with the Panthers, who they did a pretty freaking good job when he was running a pro-style offense at LSU that year and won the national championship. Now, yeah, they had Joe Burrow and whatnot, but he had spent time in the NFL, but he was a college guy that people can, say what they want about him. He won 7 games as the offensive coordinator our first season, starting 4 different quarterbacks. And then the next season, he hung 63 on Tennessee at the end of the season and scored more points against Clemson than any offensive coordinator has here since I've been the head coach. And didn't get fired, a coach that he worked for previously at Western Carolina, Temple, and the Carolina Panthers, got the head coaching job at Nebraska, and his very first call was to him to go be the offensive coordinator. So I know people have perceptions of he was this pro-style guy that had this complicated offense. Well, we did a lot of really good in his time, too. Consistent enough? No. Then the next guy, yes, had been primarily in the NFL, but was intriguing because he spent a year at Arkansas, or 2 years, whatever it was, and time at Penn State with James Franklin, being around college offenses. So, yes, his background was the NFL. And I hired him because of 1, good football coach, 2, had been exposed to the college game with the Art Briles system because he was working for Kendall Briles at Arkansas. But yes, his primary background was the NFL, came here, left to become a head football coach. So I'd say were we consistent enough off season the last 2 seasons? No, we need to be, but left for a promotion. And then this one, quality football coach who had been basically his entire career since he left Alabama, Mike, had been in the NFL and then spent time in our offense, the college game, in 24. And then I thought it was a seamless transition. So I know I just diverted off your question. All 3 of those guys, yes, did have pro backgrounds. Do we need to be more consistent on offense? Yes. I don't like the inconsistency that we've had since I've been the head coach, and that's on me. That's totally on me. We've got to score more points. We got to turn the ball over less. We got to get sacked less. And every year I come in here in spring practice when I meet with you guys and I talk about these things that we needed to do better on offense, and it's too many sacks and it's too many turnovers, and this year's no different. It's like a freaking broken record. If you look at the SEC stats, we've turned the ball over too many times. Once again, our defense is leading the SEC in takeaways, and bless you. So we've got to be better from that standpoint. I think the bless you is going to be like the Bill O'Brien, what's up, Trevor, from last week on that also, which is awesome. I think my bless you will be mine. But to answer your question, John, whoever gives us the best chance to be successful. Would I like to find, if we hire from outside, someone that's been a college coordinator, I think that would be awesome. But if the best person is from the NFL and can fit what we want to do here offensively, then so be it. I'm not closing the door on anything, but I also understand that, as we go into 2026, whoever is in that position, we need to score more points than what we've done this year and every year too, because we just haven't scored enough, and ultimately that's on me to get the right guy in here and get that right.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to get the right guy, because that's going to be a huge hire for next year. We talk about the most important hire in the history of Shane Beamer. But Shane, obviously, if this season ends 5-7, 4-8, whatever it could be, next year is very important. And the most important hires to get the OC gig right. All right, coming up, Brad Muller, Ed Bird, women's basketball, Gamecocks and Tigers, 5:30 pregame, 6 o'clock tip. Don't forget, tomorrow, this show, 3 to 6, we'll be hanging out at Mount Hebron United Methodist Church, 3050 Leap Hart Road. Need your help. Please drop off non-perishable food items. Help spread some holiday cheer. And drop them off tomorrow. We'll be there from 3 to 6 and help out the community. We would greatly appreciate it. Again, up next, women's basketball. Clemson is in town. South Carolina, Clemson. That is next here on your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.